Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Annie, the host of the Digital Nomad Therapist podcast. Today, I have a very, very special guest, Kate. She is a current villager in the out of office therapist village. Today, I am interviewing her about her experience of wanting to become a digital nomad therapist, some of the barriers she has experienced in becoming one, and the experience she's had working with me. She has been working with me in the last few months, really challenging some limiting beliefs and taking action towards building a location independent private practice so that she can travel the world while still doing the meaningful work of seeing her US clients. So, I'm not gonna yap for too long because her and I get into some really great stuff, but just as a plug, I am currently launching the Out of Office Therapist Village. The doors are open until August 23rd, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. So if you're interested, definitely DM me on Instagram at Digital Nomad Therapist, and I'd be happy to answer any questions and talk through if it's a good fit for you or not. So definitely reach out. But otherwise, let's get into it and hear from Kate. So we have Kate here, who is someone that has been working with me for a few months now. She first started with me in my beta program, the Nomad Practice Accelerator, and has continued on into the Out of Office Therapist Village, where we have been working on marketing over the summer. But I wanted to talk with her about her experience working with me and being inside the village for anyone who's maybe considering joining the village, just getting the experience of an insider or a villager. But anyways, okay. So to start off, can you tell me a little bit more about like what prompted you to want to go abroad as a US therapist and like what started you on this journey to begin with?
Yeah, of course. So, I guess it's a two-part. The first one being that I've always loved traveling. And I think when I really started solo traveling when I was in my 20s, I always knew I wanted to live abroad. And I have family in Ireland, I have friends in England. So I end up in those places a lot and always having conversations with people about, like, I just want to move here. Are there any jobs
Mm,
here? What can I do? Can I transfer my license? How can I do this?
mhm,
But it was
mhm,
kind of just like a someday maybe if it could all work out and if the stars aligned. But I ended up meeting someone who is Irish and lives in Ireland, and we have
mm.
been in a relationship for 3 years now. And
Oh,
it just kind of made sense to actually see if this is possible. Um, I'm lucky I have Irish citizenship through my grandmother. So it was kind of a no-brainer that as he and I started talking about our future, that it was just going to be easier for me to go there than for him to worry about visas and coming here.
yeah,
So,
really complicated to come here, even
yeah.
as a EU citizen.
Oh, absolutely. And just very expensive.
Yeah,
Um,
that's very true.
so I had been in the process of getting my Irish citizenship through my grandmother, kind of getting it approved by the country, saying that yes, I have this lineage. And then the next step would be to get my passport. And so last year, I finally completed that process and got my passport. And so then it became a very real concept that I can make this happen, but how? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where,
Yeah.
like, I'm curious, like, when you started to think about it, or like even starting to look into it, what was that like for you?
Oh man, I mean, I was looking at all the different ways. So I have my degree in social work. I have my LCSW. I was looking at, like, can I be a social worker there and what would that look like and kind of the differences between the States and Ireland or the UK. I was looking at what would it mean to be a therapist and what credentialing did they require. Our degrees are different. Their regulation board is different. So I had been looking into all these different possible options, and I just kept thinking to myself, like, why can't I just do what I'm doing now with the clients that I have and just, like, be there? Like, why can't
Yeah.
that be a thing?
Uh-huh.
So it was stressful, but I knew there was a part of me that just knew there has to be something to make this a little bit easier. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it
Yeah.
it
So you
feels
were
like,
thinking about like how you wanted to start a private practice versus like trying to get a job abroad or continue
yeah.
to work at your company that you're at.
Yeah. I mean, again, initially I thought I was going to have to work there, that I would have to work
Oh, okay.
like their regulations, work within one of their companies or their agencies or their hospitals, whatever it might be. But I thought I would have to be employed in the country that I was living in. So whether it was Ireland or somewhere in the UK, because we had
Okay.
looked at both options. Um, but that felt like it was going to be a little too hard and um, not quite the work that I wanted to do.
Hmm.
They're just a little different. So
Hmm.
that's when I was thinking to myself, what would it mean to either stay with the company that I was currently at and try to take that with me? Or, yeah, to maybe have my own practice. Like, what if I didn't work for a company? What if it was my own? And what would that look like? So that,
Yeah. What happened once you started thinking about like having your own practice?
I mean, it's something that I kind of always thought about in the back of my mind. Like, this someday maybe, like, when I'm older and I want to like semi-retire, maybe then I'll have like my own practice
Mm.
that I'll kind of just, run like outside of my house and um when I have the ability to do it. And then somewhere along the way
Mm.
it became this idea of like, why do I have to wait till retirement to have my
Yeah.
practice? Like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
So then, yeah, then it became like, well, if I have my license and I build my own practice, like, why not? Why can't I do that? Uh,
Yeah. Okay. So where were you at in this process when you found me? Because I know you found me through Instagram, right?
did I swear, like, I don't know if it was the universe or God or little bots inside my phone, but it was like I would talk to people like, this is what I want. I want to live abroad, but I want to have my own practice. I still want to work in New
Mm.
York. Um, how do I make this happen? There's got to be a way to do this. Like, what if I just do it?
Yeah.
Like, what if I just do it? Nobody catches me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm getting like these you should follow or like suggested read.
Oh.
And I had seen your content, and I think it was a newsletter that you had done. So I
Uh-huh.
signed up for it. And
Uh-huh.
I remember being in Scotland. I was visiting friends there for the holidays, and um, I had gotten, I think, one of your first newsletters, and it was like talking
Hmm.
about like how to do this, how to like go abroad, how to check with your licensing board. And that's when I had emailed you and said, I think I need
I
help
know.
with
I
this.
remember.
What is what do I do? Is this really
Yeah.
a thing?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, I remember you emailing me. And then I was like, "What's your Instagram handle?"
Right,
Yes.
exactly. And it was funny because earlier that week I had been talking to my friends in Scotland, and a lot of them just talking about how therapy works there and the long waiting list that they have. And they were trying to advise
Mm.
me on like, well, if you wanted to move to Scotland, and this might be what it looked like, but also like you would have to make sure that your license was reciprocated here. And it felt like it's
It's like an
kind of,
uphill battle.
but yeah, like an uphill battle. And again, not quite my own practice. I would still have to be thinking about like the NHS and, Scotland's, regulating boards. And um it it was good advice in some sense, but it didn't feel like the right advice for me. So when I got your newsletter and I'm sitting there on the couch, like, oh my gosh, I was just having this conversation with friends about like what to do. And now here I am
Hmm.
like, wait a minute, there might be another option.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So then obviously, you joined the Nomad Practice Accelerator, which for
Yeah.
those of you who don't know, that was my beta program that was 8 weeks long, that walked through like all the different main camps of things that you want to like look at, like, legal stuff, taxes, clinical systems, business systems, like all that stuff. And then I decided to shift into the membership, which is longer term, which also had a more focus on marketing because that seemed to be one of the bigger problems people were having was like, how do you market when you're not a part of a local community? But so I'm curious, like, I know you've been in a couple of different programs with me, but what has it been like working with me? What has it been like learning about these things, being a part of the community? now like the nomad, or I mean, the out of office therapist village is small but mighty.
Yeah.
And so, what is your like, yeah, what's in your experience? Like, how has it helped change your like perspective or your trajectory?
I mean, from the beginning, I can remember like telling my friends and my family just like I felt like my life had been changed. Like
Oh,
everything that I had been thinking about that I knew nothing about, I was like, did I just like dream this up? I don't know if this is possible. And here you were saying, not only is it possible, but I've done it, and here's how you can do it. And it's not as scary as you think it would be. And there were so many like, voices in my head saying, like, you're going to get in trouble. You're not going to be like there for your clients in the right way. The hours are going to be too difficult. And like, how am
mm,
I going to set all this up? And meanwhile, I don't have my own practice yet. So even the idea of like, how do I even get that going? It just felt
yeah.
overwhelming. And then being in your course was like, okay, first of all, I feel like I can breathe. I feel like I'm getting all the answers, like everything that I had been concerned about, everything had an answer. I wasn't left wondering
Oh,
and confused. It was like, no, this is clear cut. This is how we do it. And then when we had, our guest speakers come and give us more information about, different platforms that we would use, or just legal what's the word I'm looking for? Just like the legal parameters of being out of the country, taxation, how does that work? And
yeah.
just felt like, oh, this is easy. I can do this. So that was
Yeah.
like the biggest shift for me, was just feeling like, oh my gosh, like this is possible. And like, why couldn't I make this happen? Like, of course I could do
Yeah.
it. And then transitioning into the villagers, that really became like such a supportive space. Cause again, like getting a practice started, there's so much that goes into it that I don't think I was prepared. I knew it was something I'd wanted to start, but where to
Hmm.
start and what actually goes into it to have a successful practice. So to be able to get the wisdom from you, but then also the other community members who are going through either the same steps that I am because they're at the beginning of their journey, or for those that are a little further along and have their own know-how that they bring to the group. There's just so much
Yeah.
support and encouragement along the way. Like it feels very reassuring.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love our little community so much. I'm like,
Um,
I feel like whenever I meet people, there's just something about people who are more open and like want to go abroad and just have that kind of like spirit that just, oh, I'm like, you guys are the best. Yeah, but it's yeah. So, but I love hearing your experience and especially the idea that it's not as scary as it's so easy for our anxiety to convince us that it is. But then
yeah.
also, I think one of the reasons like I wanted to start, digital nomad therapist and build some type of support is because I was like, I feel like I learned the hard way of like
Hmm.
having to figure it out on my own, that I'm like, this wisdom and these like lessons need to go somewhere. And
Yeah.
so like I just love that I was able to take my brain and my all the things that I've learned and like download it into a like actual material other people can learn from.
Because
And
I think of
so
it from the perspective of like, if I had just gone and done it, like I was like, can I? Like, what if I just try it? There's so much that I'm realizing, like, ooh, that probably would have been messy. Like that would have been messy for
yeah.
me to figure out all by myself. But why like recreate the wheel when it's already there?
Yeah.
Like
Right?
that's so refreshing to be like,
Yeah.
you you have this information and I can use this information, so I don't have to struggle and make a mess of
Yeah.
things that I have to go back and fix. It can just be ready to go right off the bat. That's nice.
Yeah. I know. When I had first done it, there was the traveling therapist Facebook group. And but I mean, I think she has a course now, but she didn't have a course then, but she had a
Yeah.
community. But it was like, I felt like I was like, there was nothing, like, I think she even had a membership at some point, but the membership like wasn't helpful for whatever reason. I can't remember
Fair.
why, but like, but anyway, so I just like remember thinking, I was like, I want support or answers to this, but there wasn't any. And so I'm just so glad that I can like provide that because it is, I mean, I think the thing people don't realize is that traveling is wonderful, but when you're doing it longer term, it's just a whole
Yeah.
different ball game. And unless you've lived abroad, it like you don't really know. Or even for like there's a lot of people who reach out to me who have like maybe lived abroad, but they maybe were teaching at a school or they were like teaching, English, whatever,
Yeah.
at, in Korea, South Korea or something. But it's just like that's different from like running your own practice and trying to like be like one foot in the States and like one foot in the country you're
Yeah.
in. And so there's just so many things you like don't think about. And like different things you need to navigate, but also it's just a lot to have to
Mhm.
like mentally sort through yourself or like, and people can do it. Like there's thousands of therapists who have gone abroad before me, and there will be thousands of therapists who go abroad without my help,
I'm
but like I'm
sure.
like
Yeah.
you're saying, like why struggle?
Yes,
You know?
exactly. Why struggle? And that was my thing.
Yeah.
If I had to figure it out by myself, I was getting to that place of like, I mean, what if I just do it? What if it just happens? But my gosh, the reassurance that I don't have to, and that there is information out there that can help me, and that I can have someone walk me through it and be that encouragement that not only is it possible, but here's how. Like, oh my gosh, it really
Yeah.
took the weight off. I don't even think I
Yeah.
realized how much pressure I was feeling until I started to feel the release of that.
Oh, oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, but I am like, is that a part? I mean, I know you said this to me before about like it feels like the program was life-changing to you, but I'm
Mhm.
curious if you could articulate that. Like, what about it felt life-changing?
I think it just opened up the door to something that I wanted to be true, but was
Mm.
very afraid that it wouldn't be, that there
Oh,
was going to be this consequence that I could
yeah.
try it, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to do it. Oh my gosh, like what if I got hit with some big huge fine? I don't know where that fine was coming from, but
Yeah.
maybe it existed. What if I got my license taken away? What
Yeah.
if even just like I didn't know how to talk to my clients about it and they were upset with my hours and learning that I'm not in the same country as them, let alone the same state, and it just all these scary what ifs. And so I think that felt like a lot of pressure and it felt like a big barrier, or at least the potential barrier. So learning what was true really like eased my anxiety, and then it really shifted just like how I was thinking about the future. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the part that felt life changing, was like I was able to think about the future in a different way. That was
Oh my
exciting.
gosh. I love that for you. Yeah, I'm sure it made it feel like so much more free and confident too, of like not having to feel like maybe you do it impulsively and then like but feel that anxiety in the back of your head of like, am I going to get caught? Like, what will happen? Or like, I don't know, because that can really eat away at you and make you feel
Totally.
less confident or make you feel like maybe I shouldn't have like a website or I don't know. Like, it could just make you really
Yeah,
paranoid.
it can. And I think like right, and we're working with people who are looking for this reassurance from us. And if we're showing up feeling vulnerable and anxious, and maybe
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to do my best work because I've got so much going on for me, and that's not what I would want to show up for my clients.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is such a good point. Because I mean, that's definitely happened to me when I did it. Because anyone who doesn't know my story, I did it impulsively. So then I was like, I can't tell them. I felt so guilty that I was living abroad and I was like living my best life in Morocco. And I was like, I felt like it was a secret and it like
Yeah.
killed me. And of course, like I've really come through that now. But I'm like, if I could help someone not like know how to think about talking to their clients or even like know how to conceptualize it within their own mind so that they don't feel like anxious or guilty or
Yeah.
like they're doing something wrong. I'm like, oh my gosh, my life would be made because like, if I can spare someone, which I mean, we all have to kind of go through our own journey and because
Yes.
there is just a lot that comes up with like going abroad or living such a different lifestyle from American, like, American
Yeah,
life.
absolutely.
But I'm like, if I could help use my wisdom that I learned in supervision and my own intensive therapy. Like,
Yes.
I'd love to help. It really like really got to me. I was like, I felt so guilty. Like, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? But anyway, so I just love hearing that because it is, I'm so glad that you feel like there's doors, like I feel like those doors were probably always there, but now it's like you see that they're there and that you can walk through them and you are walking through them. And so yeah, I love that. But okay, so I'm curious for those like who might be curious of maybe where you are in the process, like what are you currently working on inside of the village? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, okay. So I guess like where I'm really at is kind of getting everything in order to start the practice. So I'm getting the website going. I'm working on my Google business profile, which is words I never thought I would say because again, something that I wasn't aware of that could be so helpful, but I'm learning
Yeah.
that in this space. I'm learning about SEOs. Again, I had no idea what that was when I first heard. I was like, what is that? Letters? I don't know.
You're like, that sounds like another language.
Exactly. And again, this is why I say, like, I felt like there was so much that I wasn't even aware of that I would need to know. So now I'm in this place where I'm actually putting it together and I'm getting everything set up to open up to publish my website and to start
Oh,
taking on my own clients. So fingers crossed that will be in the making in the next couple of weeks to months to actually
yeah.
have my own caseload of my
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah. Under your business,
Yeah.
which is so exciting. It's just like I feel like a lot of people like owning a business is can be really scary and requires kind of like an identity shift.
Yeah.
And it does require some risk, but there are also a lot of benefits, like being
Yeah.
able to have so much freedom and flexibility around like your practice, your policies. Like I know before I hit record, we were talking about like just different cancellation policies at the company you're working for, but like you get to set a lot of boundaries that help your
Yeah.
well-being. Like you get to see less clients, you get to choose your cancellation policy. Like, there's a lot of things that you can set up when you work for yourself that, you don't always have control over when you work for someone else's practice or someone else's business.
Yeah. And I think that's something I'm recognizing the more work that I'm doing here to be able to open up that business. I'm recognizing some of the frustrations of where I currently work, that there are a lot of policies in place that wouldn't necessarily align with the kind of practice I would want to have. And I think there's things that I would want to have in place that would benefit not only myself as the business owner, but also for my clients. And
Yeah.
so that's really exciting to think about that. Oh, okay. So this thing that I have to deal with on a daily basis in my 9 to 5 right now, I don't have to do that going forward. And there's such freedom in knowing that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
Right? Like it's
Especially,
really
I feel like
exciting.
in the mental health field, when you work for someone else, it's just so, like, I feel like it's so hard in the
Mm,
mental health field to have a system that actually, like, values and takes care and
yeah.
respects the therapist's emotional labor.
Absolutely. How exhausting it is to see clients back to back and the long days that are expected within some of these agencies that exist out there. I can't imagine
Yeah.
being a client who has to see that therapist at the end of the day who's a little burnt
Oh my
out.
God. Right. I know. I think like when I was starting my practice and I was like figuring out my policies and my fees, there's this, I think Tiffany McLean, she has a podcast. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she has this podcast about charging premium fees. And I remember hearing her say once that she was like, I would hate to be the 35th client of the week.
Right?
And I was like, oh my
Oh,
God, that's so true.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I'm like, that's so true.
I think about it from my perspective of like my burnt out days, but then I'm like, wait, the client's going to get that version of me. And like, that's not my best work. And I wouldn't want my last client of the week or my last client of that day to get that version of me
Right?
consistently. So to have my own practice where I get to understand, like, how can I show up for my clients? What is reasonable for me? Because it's also reasonable for my clients. Like
Yeah.
that truly feels like we're prioritizing mental health all around.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's yeah. Because I'm like, if you're not caring for the therapist or the therapist isn't being cared for, like the client isn't going to get good work. Because it is like, especially for like being a therapist,
Yes.
we like, I mean, it's our, like, the work is coming from our being, like
Yes,
our
exactly.
minds is
Yes.
literally the work. And so I'm like, if we're not able to take care of our minds or our like being, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, people, like,
What are they getting
yeah,
then?
I
Someone
know.
who's vaguely listening, that's not therapy. That's not what we want to
Right.
get.
I know. Oh, and so I feel like there's like so many people who really struggle of like thinking about building a business. Like I really do feel like in America, it's this dichotomy between the like, meeting people and being accessible to
Yeah.
people and like the therapist building a practice that serves them. And it's so unfortunate that it's that way. But also I'm like, that's the reality. And, we can try to be accessible as much as we can. But at the end of the day, like, are you being accessible in the, whatever, I don't know what saying I'm trying to think of, but like but like cutting off your own nose because you're not able to even provide that good work because you were just spending the 15 minutes in between clients chasing the insurance company to pay you or like
Yeah.
like there's so many ways in which, being accessible like makes us unaccessible emotionally. And so anyways, I feel like I could go on about that, but
Oh, no.
I just feel like as a therapist, I don't know. I just also feel like us as therapists, we're so like from our own outside of therapy have probably really been ingrained to take care of others over ourselves. And so then it's so easy to get into this field and be indoctrinated into sacrifice and being a
Yeah.
martyr. And so like I feel like helping therapists build private practices, it's like also having to help them challenge this belief that they need like sacrifice is their identity.
Absolutely. And I think being able to have a space, to have a village to come and talk about these concepts with of like, right, when we're building a practice and we're setting our policies and our fees and working through that guilt, like having this space to
Yeah.
come to of like, okay, but like I'm so used to it being this one way, like, can I really do this? We can
Yeah.
talk about that and like really work through where is that coming from? Because it's not coming from that we're not allowed to. It's
Yeah,
coming from guilt
exactly.
that's been indoctrinated, of course, that we're
Right.
supposed to prioritize everyone else, our own
Yeah.
needs, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you brought it back to the village.
Of
I'm
course.
just getting on my own soapbox, but that I feel like is so true. Like I think that's so true, and that's like one of the things that I've noticed because I'm obviously like this is my first time running these programs, and but that is what I've noticed is that having this space really helps challenge everybody's like limiting beliefs, and it's like
Yeah.
okay, but where is that coming from? Like, and so many of you are like, I don't know, like I made it up.
Like try and figure it out. Right.
And so it's like it is so helpful to have that like sounding board because
It is.
we're therapists. We know how easy it is for our clients to like create these beliefs that aren't, real or like are made up for whatever reason.
What?
And so it's just so helpful to have a space where you're like, "Oh, yeah, you're right. That is weird. Why do I
Right.
think that?"
But where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's
Okay,
thing going on as well.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so I could chat with you forever. But okay, the last question I have for you is what would you tell a therapist who's hesitating to join the village? Do you have any words for them?
Yeah, I mean, I would want to know like where their hesitation is coming from, obviously. Like I think that would be
That's
helpful
a
to
good
understand.
therapist in you.
Right, exactly. Like where is this hesitation coming from? Is there a fear that's holding you back? Is it something to do with like where do you want your life to go? And I guess what I would want to say to that person is that like joining this group, like one, the reassurance, the encouragement, the support that we get, I think is invaluable. Like that alone is enough. But I think there's something to be said about just having a community that's teaching you how to have your own practice. You can go abroad with it, you can stay local with it, you can bop around different states. It's yours. And the
Yeah.
idea that you can learn all the things that you need to learn that are really hard to learn on your own or to learn from AI. Because let's be real, when we
Yeah.
really don't know how to do something, we Google it, we chat GBT it, and we try to
Yeah.
get the answers, but it can be confusing. And so why put yourself through that stress when you can have a community that can hold your hand and walk you through it and provide that support? And whatever your future goals are, or if those future goals change, what doesn't change is the fact that like you have something that's yours. And that's a
Wow.
big deal. Like
Yeah.
you get to keep that. No one can take those things away. So it doesn't matter where you end up with it, as long as you feel good about what you've built. And I think this is a community that can help you build something that you're proud of.
Wow. Oh, yeah, that is
Yeah.
so beautiful and it's so true. Because
Yeah.
yeah, if like someone is like worried about, like, oh, well, yeah, like they don't know what the future is going to hold or like they're questioning whether they want to do it or not. It's like, I think that's been something I've been trying to talk about on Instagram is like building a location independent private practice isn't just about going abroad. Like it's about building a practice that takes care of you and can withstand changes and can withstand, because there's even people who need to move. But
Us.
obviously some people will go abroad, but then need to come back because of family stuff or like, it maybe they were ready to come back to the States or people who, maybe there's obviously people who want to move full time, but
Sure.
yeah, like this practice that you're going to build inside of the village will serve you. Like it's, yeah, like you're
Like,
saying, it's yours. That's such
yeah.
a beautiful way of saying it. That's so true. I love that. I say my business is my little baby. It's
Yeah.
like so true. It's like your little baby, like you grow it and it is yours.
Exactly. And like I think about it from the context of like I do want to move abroad full time, but I'm also thinking of the concept that I can come home for the holidays and visit my
Yeah.
kids and family for an extended period of time. I have friends who live in different states, and even just the idea of like,
Yeah.
oh, I could go to the West Coast, I could go to the South, like I could go different places to be with the people I care about that I don't have that flexibility with in other positions I've held. I've had
Yeah.
other jobs that you either are in person or you have to be in the state. And so, what happens when you want to visit people? You have to take time off. How much time do we get off in this country? Not a lot.
Not much.
So, if
Yeah.
I build this and it's mine and I can take it with me, all I have to think about is like, what's the timetables I'm in? Like, where's my
Yeah.
client? Where am I? And how do I navigate their appointments? I mean, everything else is already set up. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it is such a benefit. Like, and it really changes your life because I feel like before I became a nomad, I was like living for vacations and it
All
just
the
like it sucked that I was like, I want to go abroad, but I only have like 2 weeks. Otherwise, and at that
if
point,
you're
I was
lucky.
in private practice, but then I was like, I can't leave my clients for more than 2 weeks. Like they'll fire me. And so I was like, oh my God. Like, and so it just felt too limiting. But then once I became a nomad, I was like, I don't even really need vacations because I feel like I'm like always on one.
Doing
And I
it.
remember I had taken my first vacation. I was in, like, I had obviously, if you guys don't know, I was living in Morocco and then Thailand, and then we were in Bali. And at the tail end of that, before we came back to Morocco, I had taken 2 weeks off. And the first week was this retreat in the most beautiful island I've ever been, which was Gili Air. If anyone ever goes to Indonesia, you should go to the Gili Islands. But I remember I was sitting there and was like, this is beautiful. And I love that this is my vacation. But I was almost like, I feel like I'm not even like burnt out. Like, I don't even feel like I really need a vacation. Like,
Do I need to
before, like
be?
it really felt like I needed it because I was, grinding it out in the concrete village of DC, concrete city or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
And it was just like so wild, like how different, like being able to move around or like having the flexibility to live in places that were better. Like I was just like, I don't even feel like I needed a vacation. And this is really beautiful, but I also feel like it's not like novel.
Yeah.
Well, it's like in the States, you can't wait to travel somewhere beautiful because the States are just, built or like set up to be so ugly.
Yeah.
Cities are just, gas stations and but anyway, so it's just like it really is. I feel like you don't know until you know when you
Yeah.
make that change. Like that freedom is so life-changing.
Yeah. It is. And I think anyone who's kind of questioning if this is the right fit for them, it's really just asking yourself, do you want this and do you want help doing it?
Yeah.
I mean, what else is there?
Yeah.
Right? If you don't
And if
want
it's a
it,
yes,
that's
get
fine.
out
It's
of
not
here.
for you. If you don't
Yeah.
need help, then I guess, yeah, I get it. You don't need help. But I think there's a lot of us who, especially like I'll identify, like I'm a baby in this journey. And so having the support to walk me through not just how do I take this abroad, but how do I even set up a thriving practice?
Yeah.
My gosh, I keep thinking about like if I didn't have this and I was trying to figure this out on my own, I'm pretty sure I'd be in tears every night.
Oh, I it
Oh
really
man.
is provoking. Like it really
Yeah.
brings up a lot in you, especially when you're doing it alone. You're like, oh my gosh, how do I walk straight? I
I'm
don't
not
even know how to put two and two together because it
exactly.
can feel so overwhelming. But yeah, I feel like I'm glad you're really highlighting that because it like having support really does matter. And I think it's so interesting because before being like obviously being a therapist, I was around therapists a lot, but now being a therapist who coaches other therapists, I realized like therapists are so like determined to like do it the hard way. They're like, I don't need help.
I know. There's
Okay. Like, okay, that's cool.
like this part of us that we probably learned somewhere along the way that like no one's coming to save you, but you got to go save everybody else. So no, it's okay.
Yes.
I got it. But I don't.
Yeah.
How would
Oh
I
my
know?
gosh, it's
Like,
so true.
how would
Yeah.
I just, you don't know what you don't know, which I think is one of my favorite
Yeah.
phrases. Like,
I know. Love that. Like, you really don't know what you don't know. And so
I'll
let me
admit,
help you know.
I didn't know, and now I feel like I'm
Yeah.
learning and I'm knowing, and I did get to share with a friend recently who's been thinking about her own journey. We reconnected, and she
And
had
she
shared.
joined BTW.
I had a feeling. Oh my
Yeah.
God, she had said she was going to, but I didn't know if it was official. Oh my gosh. But talking to her, and it was like I felt like I was talking to myself like 7 months ago. She had so many concerns about how this
Oh,
could ever be possible. And I was like, girl, let me tell you, not
girl, I'm
only
gonna change
is
your
it
life.
possible, but like it's not even as scary as you think it is. And she was getting advice from people who aren't therapists that were telling her, well, if you move abroad, you need this and you need that and you need this kind of residency. And she was getting very confused about how to make it work. And I was like, stop stressing yourself out and just
Yeah.
come with us because you will learn everything that you're scared about right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. That literally makes me so happy. I know. I'm so excited for her to join and everybody else who has joined so far. I can't wait to bring them into our little village and help them not be
It's
so such
exciting.
anxious,
Yeah.
so anxious about the process.
Absolutely. It was just a reminder of where I had once been and what I was feeling, and knowing that, like, I'm sure there's so many other people who are still feeling that way. And, like, what a relief that, like, you don't have to. You don't have to feel that way. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
scary.
You don't have to struggle
Yeah.
the way you're struggling. You don't have to do it alone, which is so funny because we literally tell that to our clients. Therapists were like, but I'm special. I'm the only one that deserves to struggle.
It's my lot in life to struggle, and I'll be so proud of myself when I figure it out. No, I am proud of myself now for asking for this help and saying
Yes.
do it.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kate. It obviously has been
Yes.
such a pleasure to work with you and continue to work with you. And I cannot wait to see you in Ireland or the EU, wherever you and your boo end up.
Right? And that's the
Wherever
thing.
in your
Endless
living your
options.
best therapist life. But thank you again so much.
Oh my
And yeah,
God.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna